Hey everybody, welcome to episode 136 of the AskDAP show, where I answer your Volkswagen and Audi questions. On this episode, we talk about component locations of TSI coolant temp sensors and resonator deletes if they make any power. Okay, so before we get into our questions, today we are just shooting outside of our new office. It happens to be nice. 3 hours ago, it was a monsoon here. We actually just had the hurricane come through, I guess not really our area, but it's kind of windy here, so may get a little bit of wind noise. But it did have torrential rain earlier today, and it's now dried up and beautiful out. So we're answering questions outside.
DC NOS 18 via YouTube asked, do the Mk7.5 OEM taillights in the USA look like that? So do the 2018 Plus Golf Rs in the USA come with these taillights standard, or is it only the Euro 2018s that get these?
Okay, so facelift taillights, that was actually shot on a video of Mk7 stuff when we were talking about dynamic taillights. It was a DIY and showing how to do our harness on a Mk7 to the facelift fluid dynamic turn signals. We actually have a DIY coming for Mk7 facelift US to the European lights. The European lights are different than the US lights. The lights we have here are actually not like what you get in Europe. They're similar in the sense that they would be, the low line European lights would be similar to ours, but they are still a little bit different because they have different turn signals on the low line European lights versus the North American stuff. So those lights are only in European cars. And we will have a DIY coming on our harness for facelift US cars to the facelift fluid dynamic Mk7 facelift taillights.
Raven via YouTube asked, I have a 2013 MK6 GLI made in Mexico. So far so good. Got it used with almost 50k miles. Clean throughout though. If anyone's heard of any issues with the GLI 13, I would love to know. Be prepared for something just in case. Thanks.
Okay, so 13 GLI common problem. So the 13 GLI is going to have a Gen 3 engine, so kind of similar along the lines to Mk7 stuff that we've talked about quite a bit. The only common problems I would kind of expect to see on that at this point would be the water pump related stuff, the water pump thermostat housing related stuff. That stuff did actually have some concerns. I think they also translated to those, but other than that, I wouldn't say there's too many major common issues on that GLI to be aware of.
Hector Arce via YouTube asks, can I find the temp sensor on my vehicle to change it? Can someone help? I have a 09 EOS 2.0.
Okay, so this question was asked on our TSI component location video that I think it was Charles and I shot together. Couple questions we always get on that video that we forgot. The crank sensor. Crank sensor is on pretty much all Volkswagen and Audi engines, but that engine specifically. In the front lower part of the engine, kind of above the oil pan meets the block. So that's where you're going to find the crank sensor. The coolant temp sensor is actually located in the water pump. So we'll actually try to see if we can get a picture of the water pump where you can see the coolant temp sensor location on that particular vehicle.
Roberto Garcia via YouTube asked, any loss or gains of performance due to the change in back pressure?
Okay, so this was asked on our resonator delete video on this car. I would not expect to see any significant gains or losses either way. I don't have dyno results to say one way or the other. I can't imagine. I would say there's some more free flowingness by removing the resonators, but I wouldn't say it's significant enough to do anything one way or the other. I expect it to have very little influence on actual power gain one direction or the other, but that would only be proved by a dyno, but I wouldn't expect to see anything like that.
Noja via YouTube asked, I thought that was on by default in all Audis.
Okay, so this question was asked on our video talking about remote windows, and you're wondering, you thought that was a factory option or came from the factory like that on all Audi models. And I replied and said it was not the case, and then he asked if there was a reason why. So I don't know the reason why specifically, but I suspect I know why. So the biggest reason why I think is because the likelihood of lawsuits in the U.S. I would assume that the reason why U.S. cars don't get that option is because a team of lawyers has decided that because of the likelihood that somebody is going to sue somebody in the U.S. and the way laws are structured here, that they don't want that option available. And the reason why that is the case is because when you use your remote windows, pinch protection doesn't work. So if you were to set pinch protection on a car, which means basically you stick your hand in there, hold the window up, and it hits it and then goes back down. Obviously, that is what pinch protection is intended for, so you don't pinch your fingers in the window. When you use the remote function, pinch protection is disabled, which is why I suspect a team of lawyers said we can't allow that option in the United States because some kid's going to lose his arm and we'll get sued. So that's what I suspect, and that's why it's been that way thus far. So that would be it. Thanks so much for watching episode 136 of the AskDAP show, where I answer your Volkswagen and Audi questions. If you have any questions or comments that the questions answered in this show, be sure to leave in the comments below. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more like it.